The smell of black coffee and freshly sliced potatoes fill the diner. It felt like I've been watching the clock for hours when the waitress comes up and asks me,
"What can I get you, sweetie?"
I look at her and I say, "I'll start with a water, no ice." She looks at me the way I imagined Christopher Columbus looked at the first Native American that told him he hadn't arrived in India. I take it personally, so I say, "Hey lady, don't look at me like that. Just get me my water, no ice." She leaves, and then a few minutes later she comes back with my water and says,
"Here's your water, you sick fuck. I sure hope you don't choke on it."
Suddenly the air becomes electrified. I slam my fist on the table. "You can't say that to me," I cry out. I'm not a guy you should mess with. Apparently she hadn't grasped that yet because she looks at me and says,
"You can't just order water without ice."
My boys rise up from behind the booth. They'd been there the whole time. "Let her know, fellas," I say. "Let her know who she's messing with."
This guy's fucking crazy. Don't mess with him.
Yeah, don't mess with this guy. He's one sick bastard.
He'll tear your eyes out and feed them to your mother.
They let her know, but she still got that stupid look on her face. So I say, "You keep looking at me like that, and I'll punch your fucking teeth in." "Oi, bruv, leave her alone," shouts a drunk British man at the bar. I put my hand up and I silence him. I say, "Silence! She's gonna get what she deserves." She was really stirring my beans. You know, my beans. My metaphorical beans. My beans are not to be trifled with, so I say, "You better stop trifling with my beans. Just let me drink my water." She looks at me, and I look back at her. The tension is building. A deep, festering hate is growing inside both of us. She breaks the silence by saying,
"Fuck your beans and fuck your iceless water."
I sit in shame, my head in my hands. My boys are understandably disappointed. I never see them again. The check comes and I only give her a 15% tip instead of my standard 20. She doesn't deserve the extra 5%. 10 years pass. I have a beautiful wife and 2 kids. Had a wife and 2 kids. Anyway, that old hag of a waitress got in between me and my boys. She humiliated me, and she was gonna pay. She's in a retirement home. I find out she only has 6 months to live. I get past the front desk by telling them I'm with MI6. I even have the papers to prove it. They're suspicious, so I use a British accent, and they let me right through. "I'm with MI6. I get into her room. She's all alone. Hasn't had a visitor in 9 months. After seeing this, I laugh to myself quietly. This wakes her up. I don't panic. It's all part of the plan. I turn to her and say, "Looks like it's time for you to get what you got coming." I'd practiced that in the mirror every day for 10 years. I pull out the sunflower seeds I've been hiding in my pocket. There's a flower pot next to her bed, so I toss them in. I water them with a glass of iceless water. I'd saved it after all these years. The flowers grow immediately. She hates sunflowers. She's allergic. Deathly allergic. I return the next day to water the flowers, and she goes into labor. "Damn, 83 years old and still making whoopee," I say as I light a cigarette. There's no one else around, so I say out loud, "Guess I'm delivering this baby." I easily deliver the baby, with ease. But it's not a baby at all. It's a grown man. So we shake hands and introduce ourselves. I look at him and say, "Gee whiz, Talk about a long gestation period. He laughs very loudly. It was a hilarious joke. I had plenty more pregnancy-related jokes to tell, but I had a job to do. I take a nice big puff of my cigarette and blow the smoke into his face. He's a newborn, so the smoke is too much for his freshly formed lungs to handle. He dies almost immediately. She wakes up a couple minutes later, and at this point, her extreme sunflower allergies have left her paralyzed. She sees her dead, middle-aged newborn son and looks at me as if to say, "You killed him. You killed him, you bastard." With my right hand, I reach in and pull out her heart. I'm holding it in my hand. It feels different than I thought it would. Each thump reminds me of the pain she made me feel. The pain I still feel today. I look at her and say, "The human body can't last long once void of a heart. But before the light fades from your eyes, I want you to know. Out of all the people I've killed, killing you gave me the most satisfaction. You were the best. And I guess for that, I have to thank you." The faint sound of police sirens start to wail in the distance. I leave and I don't see her again until I visit her grave 32 years later.
I'm an old man myself now. Time has passed and it has left me with a heavy heart. I was never able to move on with my life, forever held back by the idea of what could have been and what should have been, or rather what couldn't have not been and what shouldn't have shan't been. A single tear rolls down my cheek as I stand 6 feet above her decaying corpse. The devil has reserved a place for me in hell, and I'm ready to go. With an outstretched hand, he offers me a glass of water. No ice. All the water is iceless down there. I can't help but let out a smile. Now his hand is on my shoulder. It's time. But before I greet the eternal darkness with open arms, I toss a sunflower on her grave and say, "Here's the other 5%, bitch." My boys would be proud.